Welcome to Victory Through Time. Today, we're diving into something a bit different, the world of Olympic sports that were banned or removed from the Games. In this first part of our series, we'll explore 25 Olympic sports that didn't make it to the modern era, whether due to changing times, controversy, or simply losing their place in history. From bizarre events to ones that sparked heated debates, these sports have fascinating stories to tell. So sit back and let's unravel the history of the Olympic Games, one banned sport at a time. 14. Racket sports that vanished. The early Olympic racket scene is broader than today's. Beyond tennis and badminton, organizers experiment with real tennis, also known as court tennis or jeu de paume, in 1908. The event takes place at Queen's Club in London, using sloped walls and indoor galleries instead of standard lines and nets. Jay Gould, a 19-year-old American millionaire's son, dominates the final 3-0, but only 8 players enter, and no women are allowed to compete. Real tennis never appears again due to lack of global reach and specialized court requirements. A similar fate meets pelota, the Spanish court sport better known through its Basque variant. Introduced as a demonstration event in 1900, it returns only in 1924 and 1968 under different formats, including fronton and trinquet variations. Participation is minimal. Spain, France, and Mexico send players, but few others follow. The absence of unified rules and the need for custom-built courts prevent full Olympic adoption. These fringe racket sports fail to generate lasting traction. As standardized tennis regains popularity post-1968, the IOC narrows its focus to events with clear formats and broader international appeal. Next up, a team sport that requires no rackets at all, just sheer synchronized force. 15. Glima, Icelandic wrestling. Glima appears only once in Olympic history, as a demonstration sport during the 1912 Stockholm Games. Rooted in Icelandic tradition, the event emphasizes balance and footwork over brute force. Competitors wear tight leather belts around their waists and thighs, gripping each other while attempting to trip or destabilize the opponent without falling themselves. The style is upright and almost dance-like, scored by technique and control rather than pins or submissions. Despite drawing interest from Nordic audiences, Glima lacks codified international rules or governing bodies to sustain Olympic inclusion. Its 1912 appearance coincides with broader experimentation in regional combat styles. That same Games features Swedish-style gymnastics and military patrol skiing, both designed to reflect host nation identity. But unlike Greco-Roman or freestyle wrestling, Glima doesn't gain traction outside Scandinavia. No formal effort is made to add it to the 1920 or 1924 schedules, and the IOC quietly drops it. The shift away from niche ethnic events opens space for standardized team sports, setting the stage for one involving ropes, boots, and an 800-pound British police squad. 16. Canoe polo. Canoe polo debuts as a demonstration sport at the 1924 Paris Olympics, introduced by French organizers eager to spotlight emerging water disciplines. The format blends elements of kayaking and handball, 5 players in narrow canoes, passing a floating ball, and aiming to score into goals suspended 2 meters above the water. Unlike traditional rowing events, canoe polo emphasizes agility, ball control, and collision-based defense, with matches often decided by fast breaks and turnovers. Despite early enthusiasm, the event lacks standardized rules and equipment, with boat lengths and ball types varying by region. The sport doesn't return in 1928, as the IOC focuses on refining core aquatic events like swimming and rowing. Without consistent participation or international oversight, canoe polo falls into limbo. It resurfaces occasionally in exhibition settings, but never regains Olympic status. The complexity of officiating water-based team contact sports, combined with limited broadcast clarity, makes it hard to scale globally. As aquatics consolidate under FINA's jurisdiction, canoe polo gives way to more televisual, individual events, setting the stage for a sport built on pure distance and pure stillness. 18. Military patrol. Military patrol debuts at the inaugural Winter Olympics in Chamonix, 1924, blending cross-country skiing with rifle shooting. Each team of four, three skiers and one officer, navigates a 30-kilometer route while carrying military-grade packs and rifles. Switzerland wins gold with a time of 3:56:06, led by their military-trained Alpine unit. Although technically a demonstration event in 1928, 1936, and 1948, results are recorded and medals awarded in full during its first appearance. The event's militaristic framing draws criticism over time. As Olympic emphasis shifts towards civilian athleticism, the IOC grows reluctant to feature explicitly armed contests. Military patrol fades after 1948, replaced by biathlon in 1960, a sport that keeps skiing and shooting but removes uniforms, ranks, and chain of command. Biathlon adopts fixed penalty loops instead of open scoring deductions, tightening format and making it more spectator-friendly. With this change, Olympic winter sport begins transitioning from utility to performance. 19. Town planning. Between 1928 and 1948, Olympic medals are awarded not just for athletic performance, but for artistic merit, including architecture. One subcategory, town planning. Submissions consist of detailed blueprints and written proposals, often tied to sports infrastructure or ideal urban layouts. In 1936, German architect Hermann Kuchera wins gold for Skiing Stadium in Planica, a mountain resort plan blending design and national pride. Entries are judged like athletic events, with international juries issuing bronze, silver, and gold across 5 art disciplines. But problems emerge quickly. Many participants are professional architects, violating the game's strict amateurism rule, and judging becomes murky, weighted more toward aesthetics than measurable criteria. The logistical gap widens. Cities fund exhibitions, but crowds ignore them. After 1948, the IOC eliminates all art competitions, citing inconsistent standards and low public engagement. Town planning exits alongside them, marking the end of the Olympic experiment in civic design. The next event blends performance and subjectivity in a much wetter venue. 17. Ski ballet. Ski ballet reaches Olympic ice, not as a medal sport, but as a demonstration event at Calgary 1988 and Albertville 1992. Performed on a gentle downhill slope, athletes execute spins, flips, and choreographed routines set to music, all on skis. Judges score based on grace, difficulty, and musicality, similar to figure skating, but without the rink or standardized tempo. American skier Lane Spina gains recognition for his two-footed front flips and toe-pick spins, while Christine Rossi of France emerges as a crowd favorite with high-scoring routines. Despite its visual flair, the sport struggles to establish international structure. No official World Cup circuit exists, and training techniques vary wildly across nations. More crucially, TV broadcasts can't capture the nuance. Flat camera angles obscure footwork, and jumps lack the height of moguls or aerials. The IOC removes ski ballet from consideration after 1992, citing unclear judging criteria and limited national programs. Freestyle skiing survives, but pivots toward higher impact events like moguls and big air, where results track more cleanly. 20. Obstacle swimming. At the 1900 Paris Olympics, swimming includes a one-time event that looks more like military training than a race. Obstacle swimming, officially titled 200-meter obstacle race for swimmers, requires competitors to climb over poles, scramble across boats, and dive under additional barriers during their laps on the Seine. 19 swimmers enter, including eventual winner Frederick Lane of Australia, who completes the course in 2 minutes, 38.4 seconds. Lane earns his second gold of the Games after also winning the 200-meter freestyle, but the format overshadows the result. Organizers never repeat the event. The physical complexity, inconsistent layout, and lack of repeatable standards make it difficult to scale internationally. There's no clear method for replicating boat arrangements or current conditions across venues. Despite early interest from spectators, the IOC removes obstacle courses from aquatic sport consideration after 1900. Competitive swimming narrows its focus to speed and stroke regulation, just in time for the pool to become one of the most stable Olympic platforms. The next removed sport trades ropes and hurdles for rackets and royalty. 21. Long-distance swimming. 12 km. In 1900, Olympic swimming unfolds not in a pool, but in the open waters of the River Seine, where currents and water temperature vary by the hour. The longest race, 12 kilometers, draws 12 entrants and takes more than 2 hours to complete. Australian swimmer John Arthur Jarvis wins gold with a time of 2 hours, 25 minutes, and 29 seconds, far ahead of the pack. The event highlights raw endurance over form, with swimmers forced to fight not just fatigue but the river's unpredictable flow and debris. But the race never returns. Organizers struggle to standardize conditions, and concerns over athlete safety, river pollution, and logistical inconsistency push the IOC to shorten race lengths in future games. By 1904, the longest Olympic swim is 1 mile, and by 1908, the competition moves permanently into structured pools. The sport begins tracking world records with precision, linking distance to measurable technique. That shift prepares the Olympic stage for global benchmarks and pushes other outlier events off the map. The next departure? A racket-based sport that loses its entire Olympic bracket. 22. Underwater swimming. At the 1900 Paris Olympics, underwater swimming makes its first and only appearance as a medal event. The rules reward athletes not for speed, but for how far and how long they can remain submerged, combining time underwater with distance traveled. French swimmer Charles de Vandeville wins gold with a score of 188.4 points after drifting underwater for 68.4 meters in 1 minute and 8 seconds. The event takes place in the murky River Seine, where spectators struggle to track competitors who vanish beneath the surface for over a minute at a time. The format proves immediately problematic. Because swimmers move slowly to conserve oxygen, much of the action happens out of view and without clear markers. Officials rely on surface judges and rope guides to estimate positions, but fans see little more than ripples and resurfacing. The lack of visual engagement, combined with inconsistent scoring, convinces organizers to drop the event from future games. The push for standardized, spectator-friendly formats continues, especially as Olympic aquatics shift towards spectacle over stealth. Up next, when a different kind of floating earns its own gold medal. 23. Pistol duel. Again. In a strange footnote to Olympic history, Paris hosts a pistol dueling event not once but twice, first in 1900 and again in 1906 during the Intercalated Games. Both iterations avoid live combat by replacing human opponents with plaster dummies, each fitted with bullseyes on the chest and head. Competitors stand at 20 or 30 meters and fire real bullets, aiming to simulate accuracy under pressure without fatal consequences. French marksman Léon Moreau wins the 1906 edition, one of his 3 total medals that year. The event never becomes an official Olympic sport and is omitted from the International Olympic Committee's formal records. Its inclusion stems more from exhibition spectacle than competitive necessity. Paris organizers want to demonstrate marksmanship without the public outrage of sanctioned violence. But even with dummies, the symbolism of dueling feels out of place at a peace-themed gathering. As shooting evolves toward precision-based formats like rapid-fire and trap, dueling vanishes from the schedule entirely. The next discontinued event removes weapons but keeps the costumes. Greco-Roman combat takes a musical turn. 24. Horse long jump. Equestrian long jump enters the Olympic record book just once, at the 1900 Paris Games, before disappearing without further mention. 17 riders attempt to clear horizontal distance on horseback, launching over a shallow hedge rather than a formal pit. Belgian rider Constant van Langendonk sets the winning mark at 610 meters, a figure modest even by contemporary horse standards. For comparison, elite show jumpers today regularly exceed 8 meters in controlled trials, making the 1900 event feel underwhelming from the start. No international standard governs the discipline, and organizers struggle to distinguish the format from either steeplechase or broad jump exhibitions. Because height-based events like puissance offer more visual drama and clearer judging, horse long jump earns little traction with audiences or governing bodies. The event is never contested again and does not return in any form during later games. The equestrian program shifts its focus to dressage, eventing, and show jumping, all easier to score, regulate, and broadcast. The next discontinued Olympic sport stays on the ground, but takes viewers underwater. 25. Ballooning. Ballooning appears at the 1900 Paris Olympics as part of a sprawling exhibition program that stretches the definition of sport. Organizers stage 18 separate balloon flights over multiple days, judging competitors on distance, duration, and altitude rather than direct head-to-head results. French pilot Comte-Henri de Lavaux achieves the longest flight, over 350 kilometers, in a hydrogen-filled balloon, while fellow countryman Georges Besançon takes honors for highest ascent. Despite these achievements, none of the results are recognized by the International Olympic Committee as official medal events. The inclusion reflects early Olympic experiments with mechanized and aerial feats before standardized rules define modern competition. Because ballooning depends more on wind and weather than athletic skill, critics argue it lacks repeatability and fairness. Its infrastructure demands also prove daunting, with balloons requiring extensive support crews and launch coordination. After 1900, the event never returns in any official or unofficial capacity. The next removed sport returns focus to the ground and to human movement that's timed, measured, and unmistakably physical. Thank you for joining us in this deep dive into the fascinating world of banned Olympic sports. We've just scratched the surface, but there's so much more to explore in the next part of this series. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with fellow sports enthusiasts, and subscribe to Victory Through Time so you won't miss the next episode. Drop a comment below, letting us know which banned sport surprised you the most. And stay tuned for more Olympic history. See you in the next video.